Welcome to our 2023 awards episode. Before we start, let me take you back over the 2023 running year from an Inside Running podcast perspective. 2023, the year of running kicked off when the World Cross Country Championships came to Bathurst. Yep, it's still hard to believe that the World Cross Country Championships were held in Bathurst, Australia. We turned on an epic and hot day of racing, which started with Australia getting bronze in the team relay before one of the most incredible races you'll ever witness in the women's 10k, where Letzenbeck G'day fell just 30 metres from the finish line as Chebet took the win. We then saw our own Australian drama with Leanne Pompiani as she veered off course in the home straight after taking a chance in the lead pack for the majority of the race. Thoughts of confusion and concern were then turned to joy when we saw Ali Pashley, who only just scraped into the team at the trials, surprise everyone with her top 20 finish. Kai Robinson gave us a glimpse into the future with his no-fear racing tactics as he beat home Brett Robinson, Jack Rayner and Andy Buchanan to finish 23rd. In February, Lisa Weightman kicked off the women's marathon racing season with her 2:23.15, which put her as the third fastest of all time, at the time, Australian women. And many thought a lock for her fifth Olympics. Julian the Big Moose Spence also towed the line at Osaka, but struggled to make it past the halfway mark on his Mizuno junket. The track season was highlighted with the Maury Plant Meet in Melbourne. It had some big track names and some even bigger crowds. Ollie Hoare put on a dominant display in the men's mile, as 16-year-old Cam Myers ran a 3:55. And then it was Jess Hull who put a kick on top of a kick to claim bragging rights over Abby Caldwell. In April, we finally got to see Eliud Kipchoge veer away from his usual London-Berlin schedule when he hit the hills at the Boston Marathon. It turned out the infamous Newton Heartbreakers and the rain again caused him some issues as he finished 6th. Back on home soil in June, we ticked over our 7th millionth download, and in July, Jen Gregson made her highly anticipated debut at the Gold Coast Marathon with a 2:28. But it was Liam Adams who stole the show with his 2:08.39, making him the fastest Australian to run on Australian soil, surpassing Rob de Castella's 1982 Brisbane Commonwealth Games gold medal winning performance of 2:09.18. The Gold Coast Marathon also saw a first for our Road 2 series, as all three panellists made it to the finish line for the first time, meaning the Patreon podcast Road 2 series curse had been broken. Domestically down in Victoria, the Club of the People, the Bendigo Bats, went back-to-back in their XCR season campaign, as Glenn Huntley did the same in the female category. Jack Rayner was dominant on the roads in the local fun runs as he filled his pockets with prize money, and Croaks had a scare as he was down in Melbourne for heart surgery, which sent all his fans into a frenzy. It was a rough world chance for the Australian team on the track in Budapest, as they were held under hot conditions. Jess Hull was our shining light in the 1500 metre final with her 7th place finish. Lisa Weightman did what Lisa Weightman does best on the roads on the world stage and executed a perfectly paced race to finish 16th. Meanwhile, Jakob got beaten again by a Brit, Kipyegon won everything, and Safan Hassan was once again a must-watch as she attempted the triple. At Berlin, Tix Assefa was crowned the champ in the 49th edition of the race with an unbelievable women's marathon world record time of 2:11.53. It only did wonders for the Adidas racing shoe sales and resulted in Tamsin Manu firing up her Twitter account again to discuss shoe technology. The Sydney Marathon got a bit unlucky with the weather in September, but they got the numbers they needed to help their bid in becoming the 7th World Marathon Major. Sinead Diver and Brett Robinson cashed in as they both become Australian marathon champions. The bad boy of global marathon running, Calvin Kipton, made it look easy at Chicago as he smashed the world record and became the first man to run under 2:01 in a recognised race with his 2 hours and 35 second marathon. Safan Hassan finished off a remarkable season with another marathon win in 2:13, adding it to her London win in her debut earlier in the year. The Melbourne Marathon rolled around for another year and the men's race looked run and done at the halfway mark, with Liam Adams coasting ahead to what looked like an easy payday for the tradie. But as they hit the hills through the Botanical Gardens, all of a sudden things weren't going to plan, as Ryan Gregson and Reece Edwards closed the gap and went past Liam in the final kilometres. Reese Edwards ended up getting the shock win and the $20,000 paycheck. In the women's race, Gemma Maney looked like she was out on a training run as she took the win easily in her debut. Come December, it felt like everything was simmering away beautifully for some big head-to-heads in the Valencia Marathon, and it was all everyone was talking about, with Lisa, Jen, Izzy and Eloise all towing the line in the running mecca of Europe. It was Gregson who came across first in 2:23.08 to become the third fastest female Australian marathoner of all time. Izzy was next best in 2:23.27 to come within 12 seconds of Lisa's third fastest time in the qualifying period. Lisa then knocked down a 2:24 and Eloise a 2:25 to round out the Australians. It was our boy though, Shoe Geeks, Tom DeCano, who brought the Inside Running podcast audience to higher froth levels as he ran a massive PB of 2:11.51. On the same day in Japan, Brett Robinson returned to the Fukuoka Marathon and he punched out his second fastest time with a run of 2:08.29, making him the fastest Australian marathoner of the year. As On took over Zatopek with Peking Duck playing, a venue facelift and new big-name live-stream commentator, it quickly became the year of upsets on the track, with Irishman Andrew Corcoran proving he isn't the guy you want to be with at the bell in a 10,000 metre race, while Lauren Ryan returned from the States to tactically put on a clinic as she played cat and mouse with the women's field before delivering the knockout punch in the home straight. Claudia Hollingsworth, Morty Skyring and Jessie Hunt all got our attention with their impressive runs. Lyndon Hall, Jess Hull, Kat Bissett, Joe Deng and Kai Robinson all broke or set new Australian records in 2023. Lyndon and Jess seemed to pass that 1500 metre record back and forth, and it's now as low as 3:56.9 with Lyndon. Jess proved she's all class by adding the mile and the 3000 metre to her list of Australian records. 2023 World Athletics Athlete of the Year, Faith Kipyegon finished the year as the standout global runner, breaking the 1500 metre and 5000 metre world record. With her 14:05 5k, it makes me think, is 2024 the first year we see a female break 14 minutes for 5k? It's not hard to cast your mind too far ahead and ponder what 2024 might hold for the Australians. Can Stewie return to form? Kai, or maybe even Morgan McDonald, get Craig Mottram's 5k record? Is Liam safe enough with the ranking points to get a spot for the Paris Olympic Marathon? And don't even get me started with our women's marathoning team. Maybe, just maybe, we're asking too much from Jess and Ali, or maybe not. Remember what Jess did to that field at the Commonwealth Games over the final 5k? Or what Ali did at World Cross Country? In this episode, our people, our audience have voted, and we've done our homework on the stats. It was a year with plenty of running content, and we thank you, our listeners and supporters, for having us in your ears throughout 2023 as we wrap up the year it was. Welcome to episode number 322 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big show coming at you. It's our award show. We're going to be talking about everything that happened in 2023. Looking forward to chatting with Moose and Croaks about all that stuff. Happy New Year's to you, Julian, Spence. Welcome to 2024. Big year for you coming up. How are you this week?
Pretty good, mate. How are you going?
I'm good. Yeah, good. First day of 2024. It's New Year's Day. We're recording this. Been really hitting the public holidays this year, haven't we, the last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Boxing Day, New Year's Day.
A bit more time to prepare during the day for the show.
Yeah, I have it like that. My other co-host is up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. Welcome to 2024. How are you?
Good, Brady. So you're saying you're actually prepared for the award show this year, Moose?
Well, I learnt the questions 10 minutes ago, so yeah. Hey, today, you boys, this is your bread and butter. I'm here to provide the gags, be the elite athlete, and the coach of the show as well. You boys, you're the little nerds that talk about the stats and the details.
Yeah, we analyse things. But no, it is fun. Like, I always enjoy this. I don't know how many years we've been doing it, but it's a nice opportunity just to reminisce on the year. And because you often forget about the stuff that happened at the start of the year. Everything's very much, what's happened recently. But then when you start to think back, it's almost a year since World Cross. So that was a pretty special day.
Well, that's why I did that editorial, because I went back and started taking notes, and then I'm just like, shit, what's happened? I want to put this all down in kind of timeline order. It's been a big year for running.
Yeah, has been.
Who wants to go first with their weekly recaps? Moose, you had a big one again. You're getting fit.
I did not have a big one, actually.
Big workouts, though.
Injury-riddled week, my week.
Oh, really? You wouldn't know that from the workouts you put out.
Oh, not the work.
I saw a bike ride. That gave it away.
Yeah, that's an easy giveaway, isn't it? First bike ride in 2 years.
Well, you had a one-day injury.
No, I had some down days.
Okay.
Had
Take
some
us
down
through.
days. Yeah, I'm just pulling it up. It's not like. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. That's right. The week started with, I was pretty sore Christmas Day, so we met. Well, we've already kind of talked about it. I met Ali and Jose brought up Tiggy in the pram, and Bree and I ran with Pia in the pram. So it was a bit of a family run. It was pretty fun on Christmas
Day.
Christmas morning, yeah. And then had a smoothie and I reckon Jose had bought Pia a present. We'd already given Tiggy her present, but Jose bought Pia a hobby horse thing. It's like a big stick with a horse head on the end.
Oh, yeah.
With a couple of handles, and it's just been brilliant. She loves it. You can click a button on its ear, and it starts to make clip clop noises. And the other ear makes a neighing sound, and she just races around the house doing this weird little canter. So good from Jose there. I was pretty sore though, and I had a sore shin after the day previous, which was a bit bigger. So I was supposed to run that afternoon, Christmas Arvo run, but the weather was terrible, and then I had a few too many champagnes early in the day, and that's what stopped me from running later. So I thought, don't really need to run. It's piss and rain. It's really windy, and I had about 5 champagnes before lunch, so it was not going to be for the second run. I met Toby and
Hang on,
Ellie.
just on the champagne. You're a big champagne drinker. Is this a thing?
Didn't pick you as a champagne drinker.
I don't know men that drink champagne. I'm not embarrassed for you at all, Moose, but it's just an odd kind of thing from you.
No, I've started to get into champagne a lot lately. I'm starting to also appreciate the differences in champagnes. And just if you rock up to a Christmas or whatever, people will bring a bottle, and you get to try a few, and you start to develop a bit of a taste for some over the others. Is
it Moe? Is that the big one?
Yeah, that's one.
That's the famous one, isn't it? You
There's
always
one
buy
called,
people bottle of Moe.
Yeah, there's one called Mum.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And there's Veuve or something.
Yeah, that's the one with the yellow label, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one I really like, actually.
Did you get a bottle when you bought your house, Moose? Real estate agents love dishing out a bottle of champagne if you buy or sell a house.
We got it was like a platter sort of thing. What do they call them? What are they? Like a hamper? A hamper, yeah, that's it. And I reckon there was a bottle in there. So champagne, I enjoy it. I enjoy a good one. Had a few last night, New Year's Eve. It doesn't even affect me some people say, I get a really bad hangover, but I don't get that. Nothing like whiskey. Whiskey fucking destroy me. Champagne, I can do a few. The next day, ran with Ali and Toby. We did a trail run again. Terrible weather, so we decided to get on the trails, get out of the grossness a little bit. You can kind of hide away on the trails, and we ran about just over an hour. Toby's been good enough to put up a picture of a win of mine a couple of years ago, so he's impressed with that. Obviously, bit of an idol of his I am. Next day was the workout. So we went to Deakin and we had 10 by K. 10 by K of 2 minutes. The idea was that this was going to be faster than what we normally do them. So we had a little bit extra rest. For my reps, I wanted to do them about 3 minutes. The first one took a while to get going. So it was 3:05. I was spotting the group in front, which was Ali's group with, there was probably 6 people in it. I was spotting them about 5 to 10 seconds. And so I'd normally catch them at about the 800 mark of each rep. And I didn't catch them in that rep at all because I just couldn't go fast enough. But after that first one at 3:05, I started to cut them down. So it was 3:05, 2:59, 58, 57, 58, 57, 56, 56, 56, 55. And I had Matt Gunther helping me a little bit as well. So he would run 400 to 600 meters for each rep. And then I would normally be catching the group by that stage. So that was really helpful because then at the end, he was kind of a bit cooked. And so he didn't help me for the last couple. And I got exposed a bit into the wind. There was a little bit of wind there on the back straight and it was a lot harder work. But that was a good workout for me. I'm not sure I've done a workout at that pace with that volume of those distance reps, like 1K versus 400 meters or something. So that I was pretty happy with that workout. And the other group, we'll call them the Osaka group because most of them are doing Osaka. They had a really good workout as well. They averaged about 3:07, I think. And they were all happy. It was a stinking day, really. We were thinking this is, Boxing Day, or the day after Boxing Day. And you're running in the rain in like 12-degree weather or something, whatever it was, on the track. That is not what track running should be. We're getting a weird weather patterns down here right now. I jogged the following morning. I had a day off. So that was the 27th. We did Roo Run that night, jogged that one with the crew, with Ali, Kiri, and Liam. And Toby, he probably wants you to know that he got the win, but I see we're going to cover it in the results, which is pretty nice of you. Next morning, I jogged 30 minutes or so, and I did have a bit of shin pain, so I decided to take... I didn't at all. I ran that afternoon on the treadie. At some point, I had a day off. I'm sure of it. It was the 29th. No. Yeah, 29th. I went for a bike ride. So I rode about an hour. Hard work riding when you haven't been on a bike. You just have no leg strength. Your heart can keep up just fine, but your legs just can't give you anything. And I went up some really steep hills, but I loved it. And I felt like I was working some muscles that I don't work that would be good for running, like my quads, good for my knees. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to ride a bit more often. If I get a spare afternoon or something, I'm going to jump on the bike. So I had that day off. I ran the Saturday with Brett Coleman down Anglesea, 45 minutes. I've actually been working. Our store's sort of been hit by COVID lately. So the staff, a few of the staff are sick. So Bree and I have been working. And then, so I headed off there Saturday. And then that evening, just ran a bit outdoors and then a bit indoors because my shin that's been sore, it handles treadmill quite well. It doesn't really get sore at all. Whereas outdoors, when I've got different cambers and hills and a lot of corrugations on the dirt up here, it's not as good. So I'm trying to do a bit more on the treadie.
Is it inside of your shin, like tib post?
Yeah, but it's quite high. So it's mid shin, which tib post normally I thought starts a bit earlier.
Yeah, it's normally a bit lower.
Yeah, it does go up and down the shin, so I feel it in multiple spots. And I also think it might be a little bit more calf than bone or tendon even, because it just, like, when I press my calf, I get quite sore, but when I press the bone, I can't feel anything. I'm getting some treatment on it tomorrow. Hopefully that will relieve it a little. So I was a little apprehensive, given that I had this sore shin of the workout on Sunday, which was a 6K jog to warm up and then 28K tempo. I was trying to do everything I could to get the shin right, like anti-inflams and massage and some ISO stuff, and icing and creams and a self-massage, all the stuff you do. And I've been wearing an orthotic in the shoe, heel pitches in my race shoe. And I got to the tempo, and even the first few K of the tempo, I could feel it. And I thought, oh, this might not be the day for this. Maybe I should bail out. And then it came good. So it was probably about 2K before it started to dissipate. And that was like up a hill, which was probably good for the calf, just to sort of load the calf a little bit. And then down the hill, I thought it might hurt a little more because that's normally where it hurts, but it didn't. And then we ran a 28K loop that was over some rolling hills. That, what did we get? 28K, 150 meters of climbing. So it wasn't crazy hilly or anything, but there was certainly some rollers out there. My goal was to run about 320 to 325. I was solo for this one. Toby was going to do it, but he had COVID, so he couldn't run with me. I was pretty content to run 325s, and I was averaging about that when I turned around at the 10K mark. And then I realized that I'd been going uphill for a lot of it because everything started to feel really easy downhill for about 5K. I started to roll a few faster Ks. And then I just got in a bit of a rhythm where that felt like the right tempo. I hit a headwind at about 20K mark and went back uphill. And so I slowed down and then finished down a hill and got rolling a little bit. So I averaged 321 for that 28K tempo. And I was really happy with how it felt. That was probably the biggest takeaway here was like this. At times I was just kind of a little bored out there. Like it was a bit solo. It was an hour 33 just by yourself running a tempo. When I passed the group once or twice, sorry. And they were like, there's 3 of them. They had a bike rider with them. And there was a speaker with music and it just looked fun. And I was just fucking stuck by myself with my own thoughts for 90 minutes. Yeah. So it was nice to get through it.
Yeah. Clearly not the big dog down there, are you?
Well, I'm not, nah. I'm actually not. That's the bit. And this kind of whole block's sort of been, I'm not going to really have anyone to train with. It's not about, no one cares about what I run. I don't even care about what I run that much. It really is about Ali at the moment. And she's got guys looking after her who haven't run as fast as her before, but they've shown signs that they can, and they will. So they've got a great help because they've got a professional like Ali sort of controlling their workouts, and she's happy because they're running big long workouts with her. So it's a great vibe. Everyone's on the same page. It's been really fun. I'm just not running with them. That's all.
I'll get down there, Moose.
Will ya?
Yeah. Oh, God, I said to Carly the other day, I got to get out of here. Same reasons. Well, you rock up for these, like, mine was 2 hours and 12 minutes solo. And you're just like, it's hard to get yourself up and about.
That's the best thing, though. You know,
I know,
like,
yeah.
What you're doing, you're running 2 hours, 12 minutes by yourself when you're not up and about and you're hitting paces you're supposed to. Imagine what you can do on the day.
Yeah, I know, but I think if you do it too often, it can be, like, draining. Like when, say, like Ali and Kramer's come to my long run, I'm driving there going, this is great, I'm excited, I'm stimulated. Whereas a lot of my training is like, just get out of the car and get it done, Brady. That's going to be a win today. Just get something done, and that's a win. Whereas I think you want to, at times, strive for a bit more excellence, a bit more professionalism, a bit more, like just push the envelope a bit. And it's hard to do when you're solo by yourself, and yeah.
But
I'm trying my hard. Yeah.
So, the flip side of that, though, is people that do everything in a group and then they get to race day and they get isolated at 30K. Yeah. They haven't had a lot of practice at that, and it becomes tough. Yeah.
Oh, it helped me massive at Gold Coast when I dropped off the pack at 18K and ran solo through to 41. Yeah, it definitely helps that one. But I think a bit of both can be good.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going to
think
really
a
try
bit
and
of
get
both
there.
is good. I'm feeling with you though as well. Like it does drain you a lot. And I woke up that morning and I was like, Pia woke up about half an hour before my alarm went off at 5:30. So I was up putting her back down at 5 o'clock and I'm just thinking, fucking hell, I have got a day ahead of me.
Yeah.
I'm really not up for it.
Yeah.
So that would be great if you make it down.
I will. Yeah. I'm going to plan on it. Get down
I'll tell
there.
you the schedule. You got to give me a heads up though.
Yeah. I'll give you a few weeks' notice when I've got it all booked in, but I'm working on it behind the scenes. That was a week of how many Ks for you?
I was like 127.
Did the shin pull up okay after that?
Yeah, it's okay. It hasn't got any worse. That's given me a heap of confidence because I ran on it today, 16K, like broken into 2 runs. I can feel it, but it hasn't got worse. If anything, it feels a little better than mid last week.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, give us a reflection on your year, 2023.
Oh, from a running perspective?
A bit of everything. Running, life. It all kind of life impacts running, doesn't it? Professionalism.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's Matt Gunther asked a question last night in a group that we've got saying rank your top 3 years, and this one came second. So this was a great year for me. We moved into our house down here, sort of like dream house, I guess. The store has been really successful this year. It's grown really well. We've built. The main thing that I'm happy about is the team that I've built at the running company and how I love going to work. And it's just, that being able to wake up and go to work and hang out with people that you really like talking to and being around like-minded personalities. It's a massive thing that helps your headspace, and I think we've created that really well at the store. So I'm really pumped with that. And then Pia's old enough now where we interact with her a lot more. Seeing her grow and become a little girl, this has been a great year for me. I've really enjoyed it.
Well put. How many Ks for the year, do you know? Are you
yeah, I'm on Strava now, so let me have a look. It wasn't impressive, not an impressive year for me. Let me pull it up. 2024, 60. Oh no, that's all time. Damn. Oh no, it's 2024. I'm like, that's not a lot. 18K. 5,454.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's light work. That is not a lot. Come on.
What was your best race of the year?
Sydney Marathon was my best race, yeah.
Second?
Easy. Can't remember. Don't care.
Favourite shoe of the year?
Oh, I had the Alpha Fly 3 at the very end. That was it.
Okay.
That was the answer.
Favourite jogger, though?
Favourite jogger? I think Super Blast released this last year, right?
I don't reckon
last year?
Yeah, I reckon we got it. I reckon we got it 2023. So last year. Yeah.
I'm going to say favourite jogger Vomero 17 then, because that hasn't overtaken Super Blast for me, but it's bloody good shoe.
Okay.
When do you reckon we got Super Blast Brady?
Definitely this year, because I think I went Cloud Monster last year and wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah, I think it was definitely this year as well that we got Super Blast.
Okay, well, it's Super Blast then.
Okay. I think we're all going to say the same thing for that question. Any other questions for him before we talk about goals next week? Correct?
No, you pretty much nailed all the ones I was going to ask.
That's what we usually do at the end of the show. One thing you learnt, Moose?
You don't need mileage to get fit when you're older.
Good, yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Very
don't
good.
get sucked in thinking you have to do... See, at my PB year, 2019, don't try and replicate that because you're a different athlete now than when you were. So that has been a really strong learning curve for me.
Good. All right, Croaks, over to you. Take us through the week. I'm going to fire the same questions at you at the end of it.
All right, I had an okay week. I did have a little scare towards the end, which is why my mileage was probably a little bit lower than I had planned. But my week kicked off on Boxing Day with some 1 minute hill reps. I wasn't that pumped for this session. I've always dreaded hill sessions. For some reason, I sort of just get just anxious, know they're going to hurt, but I know that they're so good for you as well. So, yeah, 1 minute up, jogging back down in about 90 seconds. So each hill had about 20 meters of climbing over it was under 300 meters, I think, for the hill. And this was tough. Like, I find hills are really hard to gauge effort. Like, you go out and the first 30 seconds feels okay, and then you get to like 40 seconds and you look down at your watch and you think you might only have 10 seconds to go, and then you've got 20, and that last 20 always feels really hard. And I got to probably 5 reps in, I'm like, don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish this session. And then, but you do, 90 seconds seems to be enough time to recover. But then towards the end, it almost feels more of a gym session for me. Like, my legs just aren't strong enough to hold form. Probably could have run them a little bit slower, because I reckon even just on like slightly faster than long run pace, if you're running up a hill for a minute, jogging back down for a minute and a half, going back up, you're doing that 10 times. Like, your heart rate's going to be pretty high just doing that. So got through it. Wouldn't say I loved it. But the benefit was the next morning I woke up and my glutes were like domsy sore. I'm like, well, that's a good result of hills, which is sort of why you want to do it.
Jeez, I thought you were going to say activated then, Croaks. That's what I thought. I thought we were going down that road again.
No, we're past that. But yeah, like I was actually really happy that I had DOMs, and it probably showed that it's a bit of a weakness of mine. I haven't done a lot of hill sessions recently, and something that I want to keep in, or maybe even just start throwing in 10-second hill strides at the end of some easy runs, because I think there's some benefit in that as well. So yeah, Wednesday, I got rolling a bit on this. I did 18.5K, just an out and back loop at Mulligan's, average 4:13s. And then, Thursdays I take off. Friday we're down at the lake for my sort of bread and butter session of 5 by 6 minutes off 1 minute slow jog. This was okay. It was pretty muggy sort of morning. So in hindsight, I should have done this off just standing recoveries, because although I was only jogging like 5 minutes to 5:30 per K pace for the 1 minute recoveries, after about rep 3, it's just my heart rate just wasn't really coming down, just because of the humidity. So probably should have just stopped and walked. That would have just kept the heart rate and probably felt a bit smoother on the last few reps. But yeah, I went 320, 321, 321, 320, 317. Yes, averaged like 328s for that whole session, which is almost like, it's a pretty long session. It's almost 10K worth of work. But yeah, I think for this session, my heart rate could probably be a bit lower. I look back at some old training data. So last year, or 2022, when I started, like, we didn't have the group, so I was doing a lot of my sessions on the treadmill. Remember that phase?
Yep.
Yeah, and so I was doing like 5 by 6 minutes on the treadmill all the time, and then I was alternating that with probably K reps on the track or short hills, and my heart rate was barely getting above like 165 on the treadmill, and like I'm getting above 170 here. But like I got progressively really fit last year doing that, training on the treadmill at like 160, 165 heart rate. So I think there's a bit of a lesson there where I just feel like I've sort of started to get fitter, and then the sessions have just become a little bit harder than what they probably should be. So personally, I think this session probably should have been done around like 325s, to be sort of maybe in the right zone. So that was a session. And then
do you run Friday, that with someone?
I was solo for that. Like, there was the group, but doesn't the guy Zach, who I normally do the session with, he was back home in Orange. So I was solo for that one. Yeah. And then after the session, like, so I've had like on and off Achilles stuff for like 20 years. Like, I went through like a 3-year period where I would literally hobble out of bed, and it would take me up to an hour for my Achilles to actually loosen off, and then they were generally okay for the rest of the day. And so I've got pretty good at knowing what's okay to keep running with and what's not. But during the day on Friday, anytime I'd sort of sit down for a period and then get up, my left Achilles was like really niggly for, like 5 minutes or so until it started to really sort of warm up. And I'm like, I haven't noticed that, recently. So that sort of concerned me a little bit. So it was probably a combination of the hills, the intensity of the session. So I decided not to run on Saturday. Just if I give it a day, I don't think it's anything major, but like going out for 30 to 40 minutes on the Saturday might stop me from being able to do a long run. So I took the day off, got up on the Sunday morning, and it warmed up pretty well. And so I was able to get through my hour 45 at 4:11s and not really feel it at all, like other than maybe a couple of minutes at the start. So it was 25K, week of 76.3. So I still probably just need to be a bit careful with the Achilles. I wouldn't say, like today I ran and it was, like a 1 out of 10. I'll just see. I may just dial back the intensity a bit this week.
Yeah, makes sense.
What about any, like, do you ever use heel raisers in your shoes?
I did put heel raisers in on Sunday actually, and I had heel raisers in a pair of shoes that I wear just sort of casually, and I ripped them out of that and put them in my my Super Blast for Sunday long run.
It's a good idea.
Which probably helped as well.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think it's anything bad. Like the fact I can run, I was able to run an hour 45 and not really notice it at all. And but it's just that one where it doesn't take much for that sort of thing to take hold. So I just need to be a bit sensible probably this week.
Get on top of it early.
Yeah.
Give us a reflection, Croaks. It's always hard when you have heart surgery in the year to do a running reflection, but do your best.
So running wise was like disappointing. I know at the start of the year we had like what our goals were for the year, and I know you set me one to race a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon and a marathon. So I obviously didn't tick that box. I did a 5K at Parkrun, the one where I stacked it.
Oh, that's right. Got angry.
And and I still got scars. And I did the Sydney 10, which wasn't a great result for me, but my heart went crazy. Well, I had experienced it before that race, and the week after was the week that I had to go to the doctor and then the hospital. So, maybe it affected the race. I don't know, but that was really the only race that I did all year. So it wasn't a great one. I then actually, when I got out of hospital though, I went back up to like 160, 170K weeks before I was diagnosed. And that period, I definitely felt like I was getting fit in the lead up to Gold Coast. I ran like exactly pretty much 4,000 Ks for the year, which given I didn't do a lot for probably 2-3 months, is not a bad year. But I did have quite a few like 160, 170K weeks in sort of April to June, which made up for it. In terms of a year though, like I actually had a pretty good year. The positive was probably the Mulligans group for me. Like it's just grown. And actually one of my goals at the start of the year was also to be more social with my running. And this has definitely been probably the most social I've been in terms of, rocking up to group sessions, even when I couldn't run, doing morning sessions, which anybody that knows me in the last 20 years, I would do maybe 3 runs a year before 7 a.m. And like I'm regularly now, running at 6:30 with the group. So that's definitely been the positive for me from the year, was just the Mulligans group. Love meeting up with them. And sort of the growth of that group as well.
Shoes?
With Super Blast. I haven't really raced in any other shoes. So for me, it's still like the Alpha Fly 1. If I have an important race, I would probably put that one on. But in terms of jogging shoes this year, the Super Blast has been my go-to for long runs and midweek long runs.
Cool. I guess no kind of races of the year. Favourite race, best performance?
Yeah, my best performance was probably in the lead up to Gold Coast Marathon, a 2x8K with a 3-minute float. I think I averaged like 3:20s for that.
That's
close
right.
to 17K.
And you didn't even get to Gold Coast.
No. So yeah, it wasn't a very good year from a running point of view, but but life was generally pretty good. That sort of just goes to show that there's more to, I don't know, like you can still be involved heavily with running without having to be, tip-top shape yourself.
Yeah, you can get like joy out of it from other components of the sport.
Yeah, I think moving forward, like if I was to somehow miraculously run a PB, I still think I'd get more enjoyment out of seeing my athletes succeed than I would out of running a small PB myself. I'm sort of at that point now with my life and my running.
Have I missed a question, Moose? Did I ask you many questions? Did I
What did
ask
you learn?
Yeah, what did you learn? I knew there was another question.
It was probably that last one that, you don't necessarily need to be in tip-top shape and running PBs to enjoy the sport and have an impact on the sport.
Yeah, good. I'll ask you about some goals next week. I'll kick my week off. Christmas morning was Monday. Storms and thunder and lightning here as well. I thought for all the parents who bought their kids like bikes or basketball rings or trampolines, it would have been a pretty rough morning. And if Santa delivered those as well, that would have also been pretty rough trying to set those things up in the storms around here. So I went to the treadmill at the gym and I just sat on that for 10K, pretty cruisy. Tuesday, then we went to Bendy. I'm back in the car. No champagne though, Moose. Drove there and back.
Good boy.
Tuesday, 14K easy, 4:40 in the morning, and then 7K easy, 4:28. Wednesday, I've been doing like Wednesday and Sundays, like 6 o'clock starts. So up at 4:50, making sure I'm doing like my activations and stuff, and then trying to start the workout around about 20 minutes past 6 a.m. to just make sure the sun's not too high. So I did 20 by 2 minutes at about 3:10 pace and 1 minute float around about 3:40 pace. This workout always, you just know when you start your watch at the start, your heart rate's probably not going to drop much. So it's kind of like you're just going to know you're concentrating for an hour when you hit go. And I think a good sign in this workout is if the floats almost feel like they're recoveries. And if they don't, you're probably doing them too hard and you're kind of going to stuff the workout up and blow up a bit. But for me, this was good. Like I kind of hit the 3:10s for most of the 2 minutes. And then for the floats, I was kind of around like 3:35, 3:40 and felt like I finished with a whole lot of running. Whereas I've done this in the past and been in big trouble with like 15 minutes to go. Whereas this one was, quite good. So pretty much went half an hour out, half an hour back. Super sweaty at the end. It was like someone had turned a tap on, like just off the peak of my hat. It was just absolutely dripping when I was changing out of my flats and into my jogging shoes for the cool down.
That's good. That sort of shows that you're getting heat acclimated because you've got a good sweat rate. And
I never felt hot during the workout.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's great.
So it wasn't until it almost shocked me. I remember I had my flats I had my jogging shoes in the boot of my car, and I was kind of leaning over and I was like looking around like, is this for real? Am I really having this much sweat dropping off the peak of my hat into like the boot of the car here? Whereas, although I think it was like 92% humidity and about 15, 16 degrees, I never felt like I was impacted by the heat whilst I was actually doing the workout. And obviously, I don't think I would have been able to hit the times if it was cooking me too much. In the Arvo, I ran on the treadmill again, did 8K, watched that like Shooting Stars movie on Netflix, the LeBron James one.
I've seen this trailer for it.
It's pretty easy to watch. I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you're trying to pass the time easy on a treadmill.
Yeah. You should watch what I told you to watch the other day.
Oh, that movie.
Warrior.
Yeah, that'd be good. Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay, I'll put that on the next couple of times I'm on there. That'll get me at least like 5 treadmill runs, I reckon.
Yeah, and then I watched another one, Undisputed 2, about a boxer that goes to jail in Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need, I reckon, sport documentaries or some kind of like sport related movie.
This was a fictional movie.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't. It was pretty good.
Have you watched the documentary about the US women's soccer team on Netflix? No. That come up the other day. I thought that might be my go-to. I started watching the new the Money Heist, the prequel with Berlin. Did you see that's come out?
Yeah, I'll watch that because I like Money Heist.
You guys are Money Heist people, aren't you?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, get into it, Moose. I watched it.
Is that a series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't
4 or
know.
5 seasons.
It's like a Spanish.
They rob a bank.
I tell you what is funny: sex education.
Have you watched the latest season?
Yeah,
I think 2 episodes in.
Yeah, that is good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The last season's not as good as the other seasons, though.
Isn't it?
I don't think so, in my opinion.
It started pretty good when they does that little speech, and then he puts the photos of himself up on
Because it's so awkward. Yeah.
Oh boy, I lost it. I couldn't stop laughing.
I just felt like they tried to introduce way too many characters in the newer season. But anyway, that was just my opinion. Thursday, 10k in the morning, 448s, 8k in the afternoon, 446s. Friday, 20k easy, 428s, 7k in the arvo, 434s. Saturday, did 16k and some strides. And then Sunday, all solo, like we discussed. I did 14k around about 4-minute pace. And then I changed into my Vaporfly 3s, which I think will be my shoe of choice for Osaka, unless the Alpha Flies are amazing. And I then did 10k at 3:30 pace, and then I worked the following 10k down. So I kind of hovered around like low 320s for 5k. And then I kind of, a bit of a push in the last 5k. I went 318, 318, 313, 311, 308, and then 2k to cool down. Made it 36k for the morning at 340s. What I learned about this workout is running at 3:30 pace sucks. Like, I was 8k into the 3:30 section, and I'm like, not my day, sick of training solo, I hate this, I'm not going to be able to do this workout. But when I clicked over and got into that rhythm like you spoke about before, Moose, I was like, this is a piece of piss. Like, the last 5k felt easier than like the whole run. I was like, I could not get over how easy like 3:15s, 3:12s were kind of coming out.
See what you're feeling there early, that whole almost uncomfortableness at the 3:30s. That's what people aren't patient with during a marathon.
Yeah, and I thought about you actually. I'm like, this is what he must feel like, because at one stage my watch flicked up and it said like 33k, 3:11, and I'm like, imagine running a marathon and seeing the 33k mark and you're splitting a 3:11. Just because I'm used to it going the other way. It's like, it's 3:25, it's 3:28, it's 3:32. Like, it must be an amazing feeling to do that.
That's what you're trying to practice, is it?
Well, kind of. Like, I wanted to, like, extend. I think at the end, like, the last 10k maybe averaged out to 3:17, whereas the last 15k of my long run the week before was, like, 3:24, 3:25 for 15k. So I'm just trying to get a few more Ks quality. I did originally have planned, that workout you gave me where you do this, but then you do 2x2k pretty quick at the end of it with a K flow. I had that on paper, but I thought, because I'd gone a bit quicker, I thought just stay away from that fire a week out from this 10K, and I can do that later on in the build-up, I think, if I want to do it. That's 40k total.
Scared of running too fast or running faster at the end. I think that's good for you. I'm saying I kind of got it though in this 5k. Yeah, well, you did, didn't you? Really?
Yeah. So I kind of got to a stage where I was like, these, like when I was trying to run 320s, I was running 318s, 313s, and I'm like, I might just push this on and then cap it at 36 instead of then backing off and then going for 2x2k. So that's week of 161. Ticked off the year, 7,319. Which was good. I had a goal of 7,300, which is 20k a day. So I got 19k's over that, which I've been privately looking at my Strava. You know how you can see how many k's you're ahead behind? Not that it means, if you set a goal on how many k's you want for the year, it gives you like a live tracking of how you're going. Not that it means anything, but it's nice and round numbers. So that was the year. I've looked at my World Athletics profile today though, and I only had one result on there. For someone who loves racing so much, I done stuff all during 2023. Gold Coast was like my only
cross country doesn't go up.
Yeah, and I think I did a lot of like the, I did the Eckerton relay and not the 15k, or I was sick at Albert Park 10k and like didn't really hit a 10k for the year or a 5k. Like my only half marathon I did was Burnley half marathon, which kind of doesn't go up there. So I just had a weird year of like results. I think I'd done enough training, but it
makes sense though.
Didn't really have many A races.
Because you came off Valencia, so obviously the first part of the year is going to be pretty like low key. Like you're not going to be ready for track, so you miss the track season, and then cross country starts, and your focus is then Gold Coast. And then by the time you start to recover from Gold Coast, you're like, well, it's almost, it's the end of the cross country season. What do I do now? So it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, and I think with different roles at work and stuff this year, so I kind of had to get training a bit earlier in the morning. And as I said before, like a lot of the year just become about getting it done. And yeah, I don't know, I felt like I was 80% fit the whole year, but never was I in like 29-30 shape or 65 low shape for a half marathon. It was an odd year, but I'm injury free and I feel like I can launch off it. But yeah, just odd, I suppose, is my summary of 2023.
Are you racing this weekend, Brady?
Down at Geelong.
Yeah, so you're doing the 10?
Yep.
And Moose, are you still going to race, or are you worried about your shin?
I'm racing too.
Okay.
I should be okay, I think. If it goes bad, then maybe not. But I'm gonna be planning on racing. So Brady, he should slap me up there. That'll be. Know. I think so.
So would this be a down week for both of you?
I think I'm still going to do a workout on Wednesday.
Not for me, because I had a low week last week where I took a day off and I ran one day of 6K, one day of 10K. So I had a down week last week. I'll do a little bit less towards the end of the week, but I'll still do a big workout on Wednesday.
Yeah, I reckon I'll do a workout Wednesday.
Give you a good excuse, Moose, if you don't back off this week.
Yeah, whatever you do on Wednesday, I'm doing a bigger workout.
You are going to win this, and I'm going to win Osaka. That's my theme.
Yeah, I'm not too. That's what I'm trying to go with. Like, you don't want to be the guy winning the 10K when you're training for a marathon in 8 weeks. There's bigger bragging rights up for grabs. But I don't want to be compared to you with you at Osaka. Like, you're a 2:14 man. This is your bread and butter. I'm pretty shit at marathons.
I don't know. You since 2019.
No, I don't know.
Predictions for this weekend then. What shape do you think you're in for 10K? Brady?
Between 30-20 and 30-40. I'd take somewhere in there.
No.
I reckon.
Faster than that.
I don't know, because of what I said before. Like, I feel like I've strung the consistency, but I'm like, I don't know, no one training session tells me I'm in that kind of shape.
What about you, Moose?
Well, I think about 31 shape. That's what I'm in.
What did Nate Pierce run the other week for that 10K in Collingwood? Because me and him did a workout together.
About 30-20.
Yeah.
About 30-20.
Yeah.
I think you'll go faster than 31, Moose.
You did 10 1K's at 2:55 pace, didn't you? Just say?
Yeah, 2 minutes rest.
2 minutes though.
Yeah, I suppose.
But still, I still think, given your strength at the moment and what you've been doing in training, yeah, I think you go well under 31.
I think like I would. Are you gonna if you go out and run 70
74s, yeah.
I'll run that pace.
Have we got a pacemaker? You say Toby's got COVID. Wasn't he pacing?
No, he's racing.
Oh, he's racing the 10K?
Well, he was going to, but now he got COVID. He still thinks he's going to race because he's bet me a slab that he'll beat me. So
that's rich from a guy that owes me a slab, Toby Menday. He could just give it straight to you, and then we could be all even. Yeah.
Talking about people that owe people slabs.
So we got a pacemaker at all? Who else? Nate Stode's racing.
What, you get him to pace?
Yeah, he could easily pace.
Is he reliable? Or?
Yeah, he's pretty strong off the front. But then he'll kick away from us with 3K to go, I reckon. Might see if he wants to do that. He can go run 29:40. Yeah. Go through in 15:20, something like that.
All right, Brady, now you need to answer your own questions.
Shoes, Super Blast. They were the best jogging shoe of 2023. Racing shoe, Vaporfly 3. Ran Burnley Half Marathon in it. It was pretty good. And Gold Coast Marathon, actually. Main race.
Rate your year, life in general.
Life was interesting at our house. Like, Carly went back to work, and then I went back to working as well. We found it I'll speak for both of us, found it challenging juggling 2 children and like an increase in work, and we got it done. Like, we got to December 31st and everyone survived, but it was just busy with children, and kind of, I don't know, it felt like a lot of like high-fiving. It's like, you get back from your run at this time so I can go to work, and running probably really went down my priority list, and it was really about like, when can you fit it in and get it done, not strive for like excellence, I guess. And things like, driving to Bendigo for a workout or getting on the athletics track in Shep, like, I just didn't have the time to be able to do that this year. But you learn from that, and then you make adjustments so you get more flexibility in 2024, which we've kind of put those things in place. And just that, loss of training with Archie and that, I don't know, what I said before about I didn't really get excited too much about training. It was felt like a bit of a chore. And pretty disciplined to tick it all off. But yeah, I want to get back into a group or go on a training camp and just kind of get my mojo back and excitement to run again. And then Gold Coast.
Just learn.
Yeah, Gold Coast was probably my race of the year. I was pretty proud of that 220 at Gold Coast. Prep didn't go real well. And then probably learnt that you can't juggle too many things. You can juggle a lot of things okay, and then you end up doing nothing well. And that's probably my reflection of 2023. But yeah, it was all right. Bats won the flag. That was one highlight. Played a small role in that, but that was always good to do that. Let's go on and thank some patron supporters, Croaks, and something different's happening.
Questions?
Oh,
that was all of them.
Was all of them?
Yeah.
I talked fast, Moose. You got any questions for me?
No, that was pretty much all of the ones that he asked.
Still the fastest guy on the show, which is always good to wrap the year up saying that.
Have you got your bat tat yet?
Still haven't got the bat tat. Andy's on to me about that. So yeah, probably school holidays is a great time to get that organised, isn't it, Croaks? Should be doing that.
Where are you going to get it again?
I did joke about my neck, but I think I'll get it maybe my hip under the running short somewhere there.
Are you going to get a proper one or the one that baby drew?
The baby drew one, yeah. That's the one that everyone gets. I want to get a magpie as well.
That's the official one. That's the trademark one.
That's a trademark one.
I reckon you could change it now. If you changed it now, then all those other blokes would look silly.
What about... I'm in this Facebook group with Mad Collingwood supporters as well. It's called Side by Side, and everyone puts their photos up when they get the Collingwood tattoos. And you should see some stuff getting around in there, Moose. You'd love it.
You're in a group?
Yeah, Facebook group.
A group, not a... Yeah, okay.
Just all Collingwood supporters in there. It's thousands of people, they just put photos of their tattoos every day. So I'm thinking about also getting a little magpie somewhere as well. So any more bird life, aerial animals I'll get.
It's funny the groups that you find yourself in, isn't it?
Yeah, water finds its own levels.
Yeah.
Let's thanks some patrons, boys. Croaks, what are we doing?
Yeah, so a little bit different this week. So when I go through the Patreons, most of the time I can find information about them, whether they like it or not, I'm not sure. But I still keep the ones where I can't find any information about on the list. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to give them a quick shout out. So there's not really any information about them, really just their names and potentially where they're from. So we've got a few each. I'll kick us off. Somebody that signed up as AK. We've got Big Dog, who maybe is potentially a student at University of Southern Queensland. And I've got Alex from Kensington in WA. So thanks for your support.
These people want to remain anonymous, I reckon, Croaks.
Yeah, well, sometimes their Strava's locked down and
could be embarrassed
couldn't find any running results or couldn't track them down on LinkedIn.
I'm going to thank Johnny Wright from New Plymouth in New Zealand. Don't know much about you, Johnny.
New Plymouth, I think.
Oh, New Plymouth, is it? Thanks for pulling me up on my pronunciation, Brad.
Oh, I heard one. So I got
pronunciation.
A good one.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said it again, I think. Pronunciation.
Is that how it goes? Jeez, I don't know.
Pronunciation.
This isn't a English podcast. This is a running podcast. We do it live. We have a couple of beers. We get some words wrong. If you're not happy, don't write in.
Infamous?
In what?
Infamous?
Is that not the right word? Infamous. Infamous is that word, Moose. Lucky that's in the draft.
Now you're going to go cut that and change it, aren't
you? Carly
you read lots of books.
Carly proofread that. Carly proofread that, Moose, and added words to make me sound smarter, and that was one of them.
Well, it would have made you sound smarter if you knew what it was and how to say it.
I have to fix that up in the old editorial at the start of the show. Thanks for that pick up. Good on you. I do read a lot of books, Croaks. That's why I got voted Man of the Year 2023 by Jordan Donnelly, which is always good. Jensen Zhang.
Don't get my moose on the loose too early tonight.
Okay, I'm going to thank Jensen Zhang, possibly from Singapore. Haven't got any details on you, Jensen, but at the Inside Running Podcast, we really love your support of the show and appreciate it. Who you got, Moose?
A couple of Swedes, maybe. Gustav Johnstam and Marcus Jansen, as well as a Matthew Cooper. We don't have any further info on those three. So appreciate your support, fellas.
Good on you, fellas. Appreciate all our patrons over there at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. Thanks for keeping us alive for another year, and we've got some bonus content, as always, coming out regularly on the Patreon feed, early access, uncut versions. It's all there. Running news, Croaks. What are we kicking off with?
So I saw this today. They had a New Year's Eve 5K race in Barcelona, which I think that might have been the one that Christian did last year. Remember, he warmed up. I think he warmed up with Jakob the day before, and Jakob didn't do it because he got sick.
Also, that Aragawi set the world record in that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Beatrice Chebet, who won World Cross, I guess last year now, she broke the world 5K road running record, running 14:13. The previous women's only record was 14:29. Was it Ejagayahu Tay was second in 14:21, and she held the previous record for the mixed race, which I think was like 14:19. And Lilian Rangarak was third in 14:26. So Beatrice Chebet kicks off, or I guess ends the year on a high.
Good bookends, isn't it? Starts with a world cross-country champ win, ends with that world record.
Yep.
What do you got, Moose? News from the Roo Run down in Anglesea.
The Roo Run. You know, the Roo Run is the premier event down here on the Surf Coast, especially over Christmas time. A lot of people come down this part of the world, and got some stars there this year. So Toby Menday, who top 10 cross-country AV man, he's run 24:31. He's beaten Riley McGowan for a 10-second win over the 800-metre runner from Canberra, Brad.
The national champ, isn't he?
Yeah, he did win the national champs. Yep, went to world champs as well.
Yeah.
What was happening down in Anglesea?
How far is this race, Moose? Because I saw somewhere there was. Yeah, okay, all right.
It's not quite 8K. It's a bit short, but fuck, you run through sand, you run over a big hill, you're going like on some pretty solid corners. It is not a fast place to run. So those times are pretty good there. Yeah. It was a low tide this year, but there was a pretty decent swell. So you actually could not get around the beach. You had to clamber over rocks with about 500 to go. And then you had to run through soft, like high tide sand. It was hard work.
Sounds terrible. I would not enjoy that at all.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. It's the Roo Run. It's for tough people, Croaks.
Yeah, it's why I'm not. It's not why I'm not into trail running, Moose. I like nicely groomed surfaces.
Yeah, you wouldn't like this one. This can be a good. You can have good years and bad years, but next year, actually, the running company are going to take over this race, so we're going to play a much bigger part down at the Roo Run. So you boys will be expected on the start line. So funny you should say that, Croaks. Be a good little getaway down the coast for Christmas, for New Year's. Brad?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ever allowed to race again, Moose. I'll have to chat to my cardiologist.
You'll just be there as like an ambassador, as an influencer type.
Okay.
Brady can try to beat Toby. There you go.
Yeah. See, that doesn't sound great for me either. I like flat roads.
Don't worry about that. Think about being down on the surf coast at Christmas time.
Yeah, I just want to get amongst the community down there. Just the people.
Yeah, so you boys will be involved next year. But also, we'll be talking about this every episode from now until December next year. The Roo Run. Third place, Damien Angus, 27:27. And then in the ladies, Alex Harrison won 29:52. Beat Jasmine Hume, 31:50. And Nicole Sorahan, 31:53. That's someone else's red.
That's me. The Tassie Carnivals, the handicap races that happen in December between Christmas and New Year's every year. People will remember that Stewie and Ollie went last year. This year it was Jess Hull and Lyndon Hall. First one, Devonport Mile. They both ran off 125 metres, so head start off a mile. Jess comes 13th in 4:12. Lyndon 23rd in 4:21. The race was won in 3:50, so what's that, 22 seconds just got within the winner. The winner was off 435 metres. Croaks is clearly happy about this happening and has left no names at all for the winners, but wanted us to know that Jess and Lyndon didn't get close to it at all, which is disappointing. If you're going to bring the stars down, you almost want to set it up for them to win it. So, be a bit generous with their handicaps and, get them in the race. You don't want to see stars like Lyndon Hall, the Australian 1,500 metre record holder, coming 23rd in the handicap race. when people
23rd.
when people have got 400 metre head starts on her.
Well, especially when there's always, if a back marker's off scratch, then to run 4 minutes for the mile on the grass is like super running, and like that puts them in the hunt. But then you've got somebody running 350 for the mile, 435 metres up the road. Like the back markers are always going to be run out of it.
Yeah.
You got someone running 350.
Got to set it up with the handicapping. So then things went to Devonport for
Bernie.
That was Devonport. Went to Bernie. Sorry, Jess come 14th in that one. She ran 4:09, and her handicap got put out to 140 metres. So they gave her an extra 15 metres from the race before. Lyndon didn't start; she was a scratching, so not sure about that one. But this one was won in 3:59, so a bit closer to what you're kind of saying, Croaks, with that 4 minute. Time kind of goal. And I reckon the winner was the same fella who won last year. Aaron Harvey. That's what I was just trying to find here. Yeah. He won it last year as well. So a bit of success there at Bernie. That's about all we got for running news.
Is that what you want? Should people be winning the same handicap race twice in a row?
Good question, Moose.
I thought normally if you do that, you tend to get a pretty hard handicap the following year.
Yeah, well, I know with the prestigious Mulligan's Flat Track Club handicap, the previous winner was not handicapped out of it, but was definitely made more difficult for him to win a second year around. So I would have thought that would be put in place.
I think so too.
What did he run off last year to win it? Do you know, Crux?
No, I'm not sure.
Just off the top of your head, mate?
Not really into the old Bernie Mile too much, but I could probably find out before the end of the show, Brady.
No, don't put yourself under too much pressure there, Bradley, because I was just wondering, because I think I have actually got it here. Do you want to go into the awards? Because I think I've got it. You go into the next segment. I'll be able to tell you what Aaron Harvey won it off last year.
Well, this is the main, part of the show, really, the Inside Running Awards for 2023. What do you reckon, Moose? Which one do you want to kick it off? I reckon we'll leave Athlete of the Year till the end.
Okay.
Do we want to start on Most Improved?
Most Improved is a good one to start on.
All right. Well, do you want to kick us off with who you had for Most Improved? Or,
I can do that.
A few names around.
No, we're not throwing a few names around. We're picking one. That's how we do it. We got to name one and we got to stick with it.
Around on my notes here.
There are no throwing few away.
Just quickly, he ran off 140 last year at Bernie and come 5th, so he must have won Devonport.
Okay.
Anyway, Moose, who you got? One name.
Name Adam Spencer. So Adam Spencer last year, you reckon we mentioned him in the notes? Reckon we mentioned him at all in the podcast?
No. Probably not.
No, I wouldn't have even known who he was.
He was the guy that paced Stewie down at that Tassie mile. Remember on like the 29th, 30th of December when Stewie ran like that? Yeah, he paced him.
And he won. I think he won Vic Champs before he went over to the US. And we mentioned him on the podcast because he was winning milers races and maybe Vic 1500 metre champs before he went to college.
Going all right. He was going all right, but he wasn't on the radar like running 3:31, which he went and did. And he went and ran a time that for me, I think 3:31, I think Ryan Gregson, and I think Craig Moshram. I think he's run faster than Risley, than some of the all-time 1500 runners we've had, and so that for me is he has to be most improved, because he's made this almighty massive leap up the rankings, and he put himself in an Australian singlet for the world champs.
Good from you, Moose. He went from 150 to 146 in the 8 from 2002 to 2003, and he went from 337 in the 1500 to 331. So it's a pretty good improvement.
Where's that ranking all time, Croaks?
He must be like 4. Is he like 4th or 5th?
Stewie, maybe Ollie, Gregson, Simon Doyle.
So he might be 5th.
Pretty good company though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And still, if you went to AV and said, who's Adam Spencer, you're not hearing a lot of like people with confidence saying, "Oh, he's this guy that did that."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good from you, Moose. Who you got, Croaks?
Yeah, so he was my pick, but then once I dug a little bit deeper, so Cam Myers is a guy that like we've been chatting about all year. But if you look at the stats, in 2022, his 1500, or so at the end of 2022, his 1500 metre PB was 346. And then he got down to 333 this year. So, yes, he's 2 seconds slower than Adam Spencer. Yes, there's been all this hype about Cam. And as a 16-year-old, you'd expect him to continue to improve. But 346 to 333 is that's a massive improvement.
He's got the Canberra goggles on tonight, Moose.
Mate, he's picked the bloke. He's picked the fucking superstar who's just run a few good times. This is not.
I agree with you, Moose. I think Adam Spencer for me was probably more of a surprise. Like, yes, Cam Myers has probably had the biggest improvement from a time point of view, but from the biggest surprise, Adam Spencer. Yes, I agree with you.
So how much did he improve? How many seconds?
Who, Cam?
Yeah, 12, 16.
Like 13.
Whoa.
And Adam Spencer was 7.
6.
Well, the next person improved 5 minutes, fellas, so I'll very easily win this category. Jen Gregson, 228 at the Gold Coast. 6 months later, runs 223.
No, I don't think most improved works like this, Brady.
Improving your time by 5 minutes.
I think it's more how much you've improved as an overall athlete. And it's like, yes, Jen has improved her marathon, but she's already been
Olympic for a long time.
Yeah.
Just for the argument's sake, just hear some stats.
All right, I'll hear you out.
228 to 223. She also becomes the third fastest Australian marathoner of all time. I reckon that would surprise a lot of people this time 12 months ago if I said to you, hey, guess what? Jen Gregson's going to run 223 this year and become the third fastest of all time. There's some surprise factor about that. She'd never done the event before, didn't have a great track record over the half marathon. Did she even run one before Gifu? Maybe she ran like 71 at the start of the year. Wasn't that impressive compared to what she went and did. Good, Trofel. Like that.
70?
Yeah, like
Hey?
Did you break 70?
Her and Ali were pretty quick that Melbourne.
I don't think she broke 70.
Yeah, I don't think she did break 70.
I don't know about you, Moose, but I see the most improved as like somebody who, as you said, like Adam Spencer, like a guy that we never really spoke about on the podcast, wasn't on people's radars, to then, we know who he is now, and he's, done something, pretty incredible. Whereas I feel like Jen, like everyone's known who Jen is. We know that Jen's world class as it is. So yes, she's improved in the marathon, but is she improved as a world class runner? Like, she's been world class for a long time.
Yeah. Need like a most surprised.
Category. Points to me and Croaks there.
We can't all. I've got a couple written down. I'm not just going to read out the same stuff about Adam Spencer as well. Like we got to. I like having 2 or 3 different answers here, and you got to try fit them all in. So you're probably not going to hear Jen Gregson's name from me for the rest of the night. Next category. What do we got?
What do you want? Well, you choose one.
Let's go with race of the year. This can be international as well. What was the race really excited you throughout 2023?
Well, you go first this time. Go first.
I've got the men's 1500 at the World Champs at Budapest. Josh Kerr, Rolls Ingebrigtsen. We saw it with Jake Whiteman the year before at Oregon. We thought, no way is this going to happen again. And it did. Josh Kerr just put the pressure on him, kicked away in the home straight. For me as well, it's like entertainment factor as if I've got to watch this event. So I remember waking up at 5 a.m. and keeping my phone on Do Not Disturb while I went back to the SBS feed and I think watched it. And I was like jaw hit the ground kind of thing. I'm like, whoa, that was amazing. Whereas Valencia was cool for me, but I was just on a dodgy streaming app and couldn't really see many of the Australian women at all. So yeah, this was for me that I feel like my heart rate was rising when I was watching it live or on the replay.
Nice one. Yep.
Good.
I'm going to go. So mine's a bit biased because I was at this event, and same sort of thing, Brady. My heart rate was just going crazy, and it would probably be the mixed relay at World Cross. Now, you boys were both there. The wall of noise that was just coming at, basically following the runners around. And that's the moment when Jess Hull went from like third place to first. She was over on the other side of the course, and everybody just erupted. Like I remember when we did the recap, like at one point I was almost in tears. I don't know why I was crying, but it was just so emotional being there and feeling the whole country like behind, these runners. And so for me, like that was the best race that I experienced from the entertainment and atmosphere point of view.
Good answer.
It was good. Yeah, and mine's from the same event. I could have picked that one, but I went the women's World Cross that day. It was tactical type affair. We had G'day in the race, like one of the best to ever do it. We had Beatrice Chebet, again, another one of the best to ever do it. And we had an Australian, Leanne, who went to the front group. Then we had the rest of the Aussies sort of battling back and just being there, seeing the course, dealing with the variables out there, like the crazy heat. We'd seen all the kids being blown up and lying on the side of the track, getting carted away. There was just so much energy around it, and it was a epic race to be part of. It was you would just call it an epic, really. And it finished. The finish matched the energy of the race, with G'day falling down and getting past, and even the same for the Australian with like I remember racing across to try to see the finish of the Aussies, and Leanne's like veered to the right and fallen, and I couldn't see properly what was happening, and it was just bizarre. It was such a strange race.
That whole day was just crazy. The energy from that first race of the mixed relay, and then the, I guess, drama of the women's race, to then having the storm roll through for the men's race. It had everything that day. And if people haven't listened to our recap, like when we recorded like an hour after the event, you should go back, because I reckon it would be pretty good to listen to. I might actually go back and listen to myself.
I don't know if we put it out to the public. I think it was just Patreon, but I'll find it. I could potentially put it on the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. To be honest, I didn't even think of World Cross Country when I was thinking about this one, because I was more like the individual race, not so much the event. And now you guys are talking about it, I'm like, why didn't I put that as my answer? Because the weather, the emotion, it's just like, an incredible day, incredible sporting event to witness live. Let's go to most consistent next.
You start, Brad.
All right. So I went, and look, there's a few you could look at here, and like I went Jess Hull. A lot of people would probably say, look, Jan Gregson, like everything she's done this year has been like phenomenal. But I feel like outside of Valencia, everything else has been a bit domestic, whereas when Jess races, pretty much every race this year that she's done, it's been always against the best in the world. And if I just go through like her year, there's not really any bad races in here at all. So obviously bronze at the World Cross Country Champs, but her leg was phenomenal. Then first at Maury Plant, won the Aussie 1500 metre champs, won the Aussie 5K champs, and then like her Diamond Leagues, she went 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 7th at the World Champs, 4th at another Diamond League, 8th I think was probably one of her worst results at a Diamond League. Aussie record in the mile, 3rd in a mile, 5th in a mile at Diamond League, Aussie record and first national 3K, 5th in a 5K at the Diamond League, and 6th at Fifth Avenue, Fifth Avenue mile, and 5th at the World Running Champs in the mile. And she's racing against Kipyegon pretty much all the time. There's a few others there now that are in the top 10 all-time rankings. Hassan, Muir, and so you look at that, and it's like not really finishing outside the top 6 when you're racing against the best in the world, like continuously. And you also got to remember like those years when Stewie was like a bit below his best. You get exposed in these races if you're not on your game all the time. So like 6 week in, week out shows pretty good consistency, I reckon. Plus, at a major championship, she always delivers.
Have you got the date there of like the Fifth Avenue Mile?
Yeah, dude. 10th of September.
Yeah, so she was up from early Feb, Maury Plant Meet, World Cross, to September. Did you say?
Her worst results were probably the heat of the 5K at the World Champs, where she even admitted that, she's just not strong enough to be able to do the 3 rounds of the 1500 and then back up and do the 5. And an 8th at a Diamond League. That's the worst her whole year has been. And yes, like Jen's pretty much won everything, but I feel like it's a different level of the athlete that Jen's been racing against versus Jess.
Yeah, because you could argue Jack Rayner the same, won everything domestically. But we're talking about world standard.
Yeah, well, let me argue for Jen then, because you can only race against who shows up. And if you've got a family, you're in Australia. You can't really go gallivanting around Europe and the US and just take off like that. So Jen is in a different ballpark now, and she can only race domestically because of these things. And she opens her account in January, where she wins the Sally Pearson Shield. She's run 1500, 428.
What is the Sally Pearson Shield?
It's the race that she won. So she's winning a race here.
I think she lost it. I think she lost to Jess Hull domestically.
Potentially she did, but this is about consistency here.
Well,
Brad.
Keep going through her early year's results, then, Moose, because I don't think she did that well come Feb and March.
Well,
10th at Maury Plan, 8th at Sydney Track Classic.
Yeah, Maury Plan
4th at the Australian Champs.
4th at the. Do you see that? 4th at the Australian Champs. This is someone getting ready for a marathon. 15:46. She ran 4th in the 5K. That's impressive.
Who won it?
Well, probably not her, because she comes 4th. However, she starts to come into her own now around, let's say the marathon that she runs, July. So second half, she's gone big. She's gone marathon, 3rd place, 2:28.33, second fastest debut ever. She's gone into the Sunny Coast half, where she's run 70:18, win. She's gone into the Australian 12K champs, the road running champs, down in Adelaide, won that. Cross country Australian champs, won that. Melbourne half marathon, won that. What did she went to Valencia, I believe, the next time. So we all saw about Valencia marathon. She ran 2:23. She finished 8th at Valencia, arguably the fastest race in the world. She finished 8th in one of the fastest races in the world, boys. This back half is one of the best in the entire world. You would look at it and go, can't beat her. Well, you can beat her at Valencia, but no Australians can beat her anywhere.
Yeah, unless it's on the track.
At the start of the year.
Not in the second half of the year.
Or the Think Big 10K, she come 4th there.
What's that?
You need to give me more credit for my wellness run, I reckon, Moose. Winning local fun runs.
Where are you on this, Brady?
I'm Lisa Waitman for this one. 3 international marathons, Moose. You're talking about people going over, got families, got to work, got to do those things. She ran 3 marathons, 2:23, 2:24, and 16th at the World Champs. Run 3 marathons in a year.
You don't say a time for that. You only say a time when you want to.
Because I looked, it's like everyone's time was slow, wasn't it? What was it, like 2:30 something? Let me look it up for you. I'll give it to you. But we're not really looking at times when it's like 30 degrees and the winning times are slow. But I'll tell you, I'm not afraid to tell you the time.
No, I think it was
you know what I mean?
2:34, I'm going to say.
But even like the winner was a 2:15 girl, wasn't it? And what did she finish in? Do you know what the winning time was?
Well, no, don't know.
Okay. I could tell you that, and it would probably stack up with my argument pretty well, I reckon. I thought, it's pretty hard to nail 3 in a year, and she definitely nailed 3 in a year. Good answers, though, boys.
That's it?
Yeah. Tell me someone who nails 3 marathons in a year.
Oh, yeah, no, it is good. It's hard to do 3 marathons in a year.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
How hard is it, though, to be how hard is it to be at the pointy end of every single Diamond League all season, plus World Championships?
You just said Jen Gregson. She went 2:28 and 2:23. I'm giving you a 2:23, a 2:24, and a 16th at World Champs.
No, well, that's
good.
That's a valid argument. I'm not disputing it.
That's what we're here to do. Here to present some.
Yeah.
And we haven't looked at each other's notes. If people are listening thinking these guys are just pick someone and arguing that point, we definitely haven't looked at each other's notes. I've got mine on a separate pages note here. It's not shared with the boys.
I'm a bit like you though, Brady. I do have a couple. So, like, if for example Moose did say Jess Hull, like I did have arguments here for Jen.
Yeah,
so they were probably my top. They were probably my top two in terms of. But I just looked at. For me, it was more about, all right, to do it on an international stage week in, week out is maybe a bit harder than, winning an Aussie road running champs in Adelaide when it's on the same weekend as some other major event.
Yeah, all good arguments. Sold it to me. Performance of the year. So we're just talking about one performance that somebody spat out throughout the 12-month period. Could have been a one-hit wonder, or they could have had a successful season, but that doesn't matter. It's just the one performance of the year from an Australian.
I think you're up this time, Brady, first.
Can I go last? Because I've got 4 written down.
All right, I'll go first
Moose.
then. So for this, I don't think an Australian distance runner won a medal at a major champs this year. Correct?
Not an individual.
No, that's right. Not an individual. Not a relay race. We don't great fun and all, but not a relay. We're not counting that. So then we go to times. Now there was some records broken, but the records that get broken have to get prioritized and ordered into what we care about the most. Now the 3K, although that's a nice record, it's pretty fun, but it ain't an Olympic distance. So it is not as prestigious as breaking the 1,500 metre record or the 5K record. Okay, 3K doesn't sit at the same level of prestige. So my best performance of the year is Lyndon Hall taking back her Australian record, running 3:56.92 in Oregon, post World Champs. She's seen her records getting beaten by Jess Hull. Jess Hull touched her up a few times during the year.
Well, Lyndon didn't make the final at Budapest, and Jess did.
That's right. She hadn't had the best season before this, and she's come out and run an Australian record in the 1,500 metres, which is the glory event. It's the superstar event of the track. There'll always be 1,500 metres, and she's now the fastest Australian to ever do it, and she did it in 2023. And you can find some other Australian records that perhaps got broken, but I'm not sure that you'll be able to out-prestigious them like the 1,500 metre record.
Placed 5th in that race as well against all those names that Croaks mentioned before. It was loaded, and she finished 5th. That's
like
a good
that
argument,
from you, Moose.
That was one on my list, but you done a great job summarising it. Would you have, Croaks?
Well, I'll just add a bit more support to Moose's one there. If you also look at the IAAF points, so Lyndon's 356.92 gives her 1,230 points, which was actually the highest out of all of the Aussie records that were broken this year.
Ooh.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, I think you got that wrong, to be honest. I've done some research, and
Right.
I found an Australian record that scored 1,238 points, which might be my performance of the year.
Oh, which one?
A lot of people have slept on this one, but statistically, the best performance from an Australian, Kai Robinson, 13:06.4 indoors, national record.
No.
I'm not saying it's the performance of the year. I'm just saying statistically, it is the performance of the year. Got more points.
Okay.
I did not. Okay, yeah.
Did you look that one up?
I missed that one. No, because I was looking at all outdoor stuff. So
okay, because I didn't look at the 800s as well, the Cat Bissett or Joe Deng. But yeah, this one was 12:38, which I felt was weird because Jax ran 0.4 of a second quicker and he didn't get as many points. But I think because Kai comes second in this race. So it's a combination of maybe the tier of the meet. Is that right? Like or where it's finished, and his placing as well.
So is that is that performance of the year for you? Is that the one you're going with?
No, I'm not, but it's worth a note that it is statistically the high. I've got 2 more written here for conversation's sake. What do you want them?
Well, go.
Have you got Liam Adams, Gold Coast, 2:08.39, fastest ever marathon on Australian soil. Took down Deke's time from the Brisbane Commonwealth Games. We all know how hard it is to run marathons in Australia, fellas, and to run 2:08:39 has got to be worth a mention. Come third overall, you know how deep they bring that field in for the Gold Coast. So on the podium, 2:08:39, it's got to be worth a mention in performance of the year.
And yeah, I agree. I'm not sure if it's Aussie record.
Yeah, I don't think it's up there with Linden's, but yeah, it's worth a chat.
First female under 357.
Yeah. And I also had Ali with her 19th at World Cross Country. Only 2 other females have been top 20 at World Cross Country. Benita, when she won it, and she probably finished top 20 in other races there as well, but the win's the one we remember. And Krista Stanton back in the day. Before There's
been a few more than that, Brady, because...
Has there?
Yeah, I went back as well. Oh, we had...
I thought that was the stat everyone was banging on about. And I looked up Krishna today to confirm it, but who else was there?
Hayley McGregor finished 17th in 2004. Karen McCann, 18th in 1999.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut that. Sorry, Ali.
Kate Richardson, 16th. So what happened, though? The women's...
because they were all short course.
It was just... The men's used to always run over around 12K, and the women's race before a certain time used to just be half the distance. So it was well crossed. It was only the one race. And then it must have been somewhere in the 2000s that they brought in the short course and the long course. But all the ones that I mentioned here have been the standalone World Cross for the women, or the long course. So there's been a few more that have finished in the top 20 than just Ellie and Krishna and Benita.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, that's right.
I got you on the Kai Robinson stuff. You got me on the Ali Paschal stuff. One all.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Look, I went with Linden as well. I just think first female under 357, the amount of points. A couple of other, I guess, mentions would be Joseph Dang. He's the first Aussie under 144 with his 143.99, which is an Aussie record. I guess a run that's really hard to quantify, but Jess's leg at World Cross, and this is where it gets really difficult, was the legs were different distances. So Jess ran shorter than what Abby ran, and so you can't even compare Jess's run really to the faster Kenyan and Ethiopian runners, because their best 2 runners were last, but she ran incredibly well that day. But for me, it's still performance of the year is Linden's, 356.
Second last one, fellas. Athlete to watch in 2024. We've got some history in this one, Croaks, in this agenda here. Who did we say this time last year?
Yeah, all right, I'll go through the last few years. So you have a history of just picking the ones that have already got a good track record. So, here we go. 2020, runners to watch in 2021. Moose had Sarah Billings. I had Rose Davies. Brady's gone Morgan McDonald, Stewie, Hull, Luke Matthews to win a medal.
Stewie?
Yeah, to watch in 2021. Jess Hull, yeah.
Well, look at it. Look how good Jess Hull's going now. I told you in 2021, and look what she's done in 2023.
But this was like the whole...
I pick them early.
But this is where it's like you want to pick somebody like the Adam Spencer, where it's like a guy that's not even on the radar, that this in a year's time you're talking about them. Like the whole share analogy. And so then runners to watch in 2022, you had Ollie Hoare, once again, to become a monster. Games. Jess Stenson to rip a fast overseas marathon, and can't wait to see what Luke Matthews does with Rinaldi. Well, we know what he did.
Good call.
Moose had Jack Rayner for the marathon and Caitlin Adams. Oh. And then this must have been the year that Luke Matthews was actually co-hosting this show, because I've got a heap here, but some of these were his. So we had Strintsos, Kai Robinson, Lauren Ryan, Abby Caldwell, Claudia Hollingsworth, and Morgan McDonald. So they were both they were a combination of mine and Luke's. And then last year, Brady, you had Caitlin and Pat Tiernan. I had Amy Cashin and Kai Robinson, and Moose had Amelia Mazzadowney and Seth O'Donnell.
Amelia Mazzadowney's actually had a pretty good season. I reckon she's in her ranking points, she's pretty high in the 10K.
Yeah,
from some of the stuff she did in college.
That.
Yeah,
I did see that. She gets a bit hidden over here.
Yeah, over there.
Oh no, well, yeah, hidden from here. to a degree, but I reckon if you see her over here, she'd be sticking it to a few girls.
Yeah, she could have dominated domestically like if she was here. Could have
So who you got?
given Jen
Who you
someone
got,
a race.
Moose?
This year. So on the female side, I've gone with an athlete that's in a group that's building. And I think there'll be a lot of eyes on the Australian contort of the on-track club. Is it called the
OAC.
OAC Oceania.
On Athletic Club. Is that what it is? Athletic Club?
Yeah, on Athletics Club.
On Athletics, yeah. So, sorry. But Bendiri or Boyer. Now, she looks amazing when she runs, and she has the potential to do some really good stuff in this 800 metres, I reckon. I just think she needs some time and consistency, and she needs the right person to keep her motivated and to keep the interest there, and maybe she's getting that with this new group. But she's my one to watch 2023, and maybe we'll start to see some
24 maybe
24. It's going so fast. Maybe around Australian, if she could be the Australian 800 metre champion. What do you think?
She's got wheels, hasn't she? 51
like
seconds for the 400.
You got a male
She
or
was on
another
the same
female
World Champs
Moose?
team as you, Moose, when you went to Doha.
Yes, maybe.
Mates? Yeah, she was. That's where her PB was set. 2019,
Wow.
September.
There you go. Yeah, she always impresses me when she runs. She goes hard. She's got to learn the 800 a bit more though. Probably gets a few more races in it. The male athlete. I always like someone coming out of college who is really invested in running. We've seen we're not going to call them flops, but they certainly haven't picked up where they left off. We've seen quite a few of those come out, and we've been hyping them, and they haven't really done what we maybe expected them to do, or maybe we overcooked it a little bit. But someone like Jackson Sharp from coming out of, I think he runs for Wisconsin. That's one for me that I'm looking at this year. So I'm going to go Jackson Sharp, Bendiri, or Boyer.
Good.
Nice,
Who's it,
Moose.
folks?
Oh, this is hard because you always want to throw a few names out there.
You want to know this? I know you want to throw names out, but you can't. That's a Brady move, and we outruled that real early in this show.
Well, because what I like about this segment is you go back and there's people that we've named 2 or 3 years ago that maybe they didn't hit their straps that year, but they did 2 years later. Yeah. So I find it where it's really difficult is an athlete that I might mention now, maybe not quite hit it next year, but maybe the year after. But you want to get in now. But you don't want to waste I don't want to waste my person by saying they're going to hit it next year when I reckon they're maybe 2 years away. So in that case, I'll go for Carly Thomas. So she 800 meter runner. I think she ran the third fastest time this year by an Aussie. And she finished second at World Juniors a few years ago. Had a bit of an up and down last few years. She broke her leg pretty badly. I think water skiing. So I think she's definitely one to watch that can sort of get onto the world stage this year, where I've got a couple of other females that I think are on the right track, but maybe not quite there for this coming year. Which, can I mention those people or not?
Yeah, mention them. Just throw their names out. Long-term investments.
I don't want any reference to these women throughout the year.
All right. So I think someone like Morty Skyring, I feel like same sort of thing. Moose came out of college, maybe didn't have a great college career, but I saw something down at Zatopek and she's one where I think maybe not within the next year she's going to be challenging in diamond leagues, but I feel like there's something there that within maybe a couple of years we'll be talking about her a bit more. So.
Fair point. She did look good at Zatopek, and I considered her as well. I think there's a few in that group that can step up.
Like an Amy Bunnage as well, like superstar junior. She's at college now. But yeah, you just don't know how long it's going to take them to hit their straps.
I've gone real deep here, fellas. Really low value at the moment, but if you get in at this entry level, it might not be next year or this year, but the year after. Have you ever heard of the guy Harvey Cramb? C-R-A-M-B? Queenslander?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
You heard of him? Down, just a young kid. I think he's just turned 18, 19. He's shipped off to college. Queenslander, don't hear much about him up there in Queensland. But he beat Jack Anstey at the Queensland 1500 metre champs, who's got a PB of 3:36. This kid outkicked him, manoeuvred him like tactically, brilliant on the track, gone over to college, won the under-20 1500 and the steeplechase at the national champs. And I just got some intel from this fella. Well, someone actually started following me on Instagram, made a fake account, followed me, sent me this message about Harvey, all this information, and then deleted their Instagram account.
So a bit of insider trading. You're not even doing it yourself.
I looked it back up today and it said, Instagram user sent you this message. They're really thinking he can push a massive breakthrough in the steeplechase here and potentially make an Australian team. So his PB is 3:49, but it was in a championship race. He could be a sneaky kind of guy. Similar to Kai Robertson, Queenslander, goes over to college, comes out an absolute animal. Keep an eye on that name, Harvey Cramb. That's my one to watch. Oh, and just a little probably less known, Jess Stenson. I reckon she could run a pretty good marathon throughout 2024. Don't sleep on her.
I haven't given my mail yet.
Haven't you? Who's your mail?
So is that who you're going, Jess?
Yeah, one to watch in 2024.
Yeah. I got two for the male. Is that all right, Moose? One is an established name, but I think he's going to have a really good year, and the other is like probably 2 to 3 years away. I'm going to go Morgan McDonald. I think I've mentioned him before, but there's something about Morgan that I feel like if he strings together 6 to 12 months, he can actually break the Aussie 5K record. You just look at what he's done. Like, he was NCAA champ. He was he was on par with Grant Fisher and beating Grant Fisher. And you look what Grant Fisher's been able to do. I feel like Morgan is just as good as him, or he's proven it, but he just hasn't had the luck. So I feel like he's obviously now under Dathan Ritzenheim, great group over there. I feel like if he stays injury free, he could actually break the Aussie record. And my other one is, I've only actually only heard of him the last couple of months, is it's actually Carly Thomas's brother, Ben Thomas. I was really impressed with his 3K, the way that he looks like he's a really smooth mover. Probably overcooked it with 600 to go, but he also came out at the New South Wales Milers meet and ran 3:43 the other week. So in a not a high profile meet. So I think he's one to watch. Maybe not this coming year, but in a year or two. But I think Morgan's one to watch this year. Yeah, good. Athlete of the Year, fellas, the big award. This is the one. Oh, do we have what we're looking forward to, or are we doing that one last? We'll do that last. Yeah. They can look ahead. This is looking backwards. Who's your athlete of the year? Or you want to go first, Croaks? I reckon we're all on the same page here, maybe. I'm happy to do this one. I think this one was pretty easy. Jess Hull for me. If we start with what she did at the start of the year, like her cross-country leg, as I spoke about, it was 11 and 12. So 11 to 12 seconds faster than both the Kenyan and Ethiopian runner that was on her leg. And also then she's run a 1,500 metre PB this year, so 357.29. So not far off the Aussie record. Broke the Aussie mile record, the Aussie 3K record. Was 7th at World Champs in the 1,500, 5th at the World Road Running Champs in the mile. And the people that were beating her in these races, I actually wrote some stuff down here. Where was it? World Champs. You've got Kipyegon, who's the fastest runner of all time over the distance. Well, Teji, who's a 3:53 runner and 11th all-time. Hassan, 3:51 and 7th all-time. McGeehan, 3:55 runner and 25th all-time. Laura Muir, 3:54 and 15th all-time. For me, it's, Jess. Just the year that she's had, very consistent, and also Aussie records, best placing at a World Championship by an Aussie. Yeah. Everything you just said, Croaks. Same notes written in front of me. Couldn't agree more. Jess Hull for me. Moose?
I didn't write notes, but I wrote Jess Hull. The other, like the potential other two that you could throw in here. Lisa Waitman with 3 marathons, one of them being 2:23, one of them being 2:24, and the other being a teens finish at the World Champs. To me, that is a potential. And then Jen Gregson running the third fastest Australian, or second fastest Australian ever. No, third fastest.
Third, yeah.
Third ever. That's the potential other two that could compete here. However, it is my pick was still Jess.
And what are you looking forward to in 2024, boys? Could I go first? Paris Olympics. Easy.
Well, yeah, easy.
Anything else?
You went first, and you went with that.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to jump in before you two did.
You go, Moose.
What am I looking forward to? Well, we also have World Cross this year as well. That's always exciting. World Cross, and I think we'll get a different batch this year going to World Cross. Like, we might see some new names pop up there. But for me, it's Paris, and for me, it's still the women's race for the marathon spot is still hot, and I'm still pumped for that. And then so that's the first half of that answer. The second half is what the women can do at the Olympics. That's the next thing. So it's women's marathon race to the team, and then it's what the team does in Paris. They're the two, part A, part B to an overall answer.
Good. Croaks?
So I had 3 things down. One was, the battle for the women's places at in the marathon for the Olympics. Other 2 were the men's 1500 at the Olympics. I feel like since World Championships in 2019, it's probably been one of the best global events. It's always so exciting. It's so cutthroat. It's really international. There's people from pretty much every continent that are competitive. So that's my second one. And my other one is Kipton versus Kipchoge at the Olympics. I would love to see that.
It's going to be a big year. Real big year brewing.
Yeah, Kipchoge's always interesting. Kipchoge versus Kipton at the Olympics. Oh, there it is. That's
Kipton
pretty
will break
fun.
2 hours next year, or this year. I keep getting that mucked up.
Is that what you're looking forward to?
Just a prediction. That's just a prediction. He'll break 2 hours for sure.
Reckon someone's taking bets on it?
It's not enough money with nerds like me and Croaks. There's like 5 people worldwide that follow this stuff. You get excited about this on the 1st of Jan. That's a great summary, fellas. Thanks for sharing that with me. We nerded out there. Do you want to just rush through the end of the show here? I don't think we need to do a listener question. Moose on the loose. You got some stuff written here, Moose. You want to go through that, and then we'll go what's coming up?
Yeah, I'll just quickly go few things. People that post on Instagram about all the books they read. Cringiest thing ever. Like, we get it. You read books. You're a fucking intellect. You want to tell everyone about how smart you are and how much better you are than them, because they're sitting there on their phone, reading their phone and scrolling while you're off reading a book. You're
watching Netflix.
Fucking hero.
Watching Sex Education on Netflix instead of reading.
This is directed at me, and I've watched Sex Education. I just told you the Netflix stuff I watched before. Have you seen the shit that's been on social media the last week? Seeing someone giving a score about a book is the least of your worries.
I'm not worried. It's just I'm just describing the problem. You're up there in the problem.
Mate,
but
I can show you some bigger problems. I'll send you some screenshots after we get off air. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're fighting the wrong fight here.
Also, this is the first summer holiday period we're having in our house, and the town is full. Every house is occupied, and it's actually it's a revelation for us to learn that water pressure in the town drops massively. And we're at the top of the hill, and there is only the smallest amount of water making it up the pipes to the top of the hill. So I turned my shower on full, and it's literally like dripping out the end. So I am having trouble getting clean after some of my runs. and then you try to fill up a glass of water, it takes you about 2 minutes. It's no good.
Is this going to result in a purchase of the week to get this fixed somehow?
No, we already had a plumber around, and he said there is no fix to this. You can take, there's like water saving things in your shower head. Potentially you could remove that from the shower head, but our shower head's too old, probably doesn't have one anyway.
Imagine spending $9 million on a house, Croaks, and the shower doesn't work.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the plumber was telling us, like, real rich people down the street have built a house and they're so disappointed in the water, they're paying thousands to get their own, like, some other way to get water up the hill or something.
Well, this is what I was getting at, Moose. This sounds like you. This is where it's like, this is a problem. I'm not happy with this. I'm going to pay a shitload of money to get it fixed if it means bringing in my own water truck.
Get a private pipe or something, Moose.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going to plan on getting water from, but they're going to get pumps put in, their own pumps that pump from the water, like the pipes into their house.
Just take it straight out of the ocean up the hill. It's only for a shower. You don't drink the water, do you? Bit of seawater would be good though, wouldn't it?
In the hair.
Yeah, I reckon that'd make it look good. I reckon.
It made me look like a little surfy boy.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah, so it's one of them was you. You know who else posts books?
Who else?
Jonathan Marcus.
Does he?
One of your favourites on Twitter. He always brags about how many books he reads.
I actually didn't read that many books. I think I only read like 9 books or something this year.
Oh,
it's pretty low.
9 books. That's one every 5 weeks.
It's pretty low this year. Didn't have much time. I told you before, too busy. Couldn't read. Yeah, you would have read more books than me. Seriously, though, you would have seen some of the garbage on social media the last week.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot. But you're the most fun to go at.
Getting triggered by someone posting books.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Well, I'm not. I just... I do think that most people are posting it to show us how good they are.
I've got a book club, so like I've got people I go back and forth with.
Here we go.
It's good.
Here we go, Croaks. The book club.
You want to be added in the book club? Check my story highlights if you want to see all my scores on all the books I've read over the last couple of years.
You got to read the books?
Yeah, you don't have to read them. I'll just give you a summary.
I
was thinking about starting an OnlyFans account actually for people like you.
Oh yeah.
Just obsess over me. Yeah.
What are you going to
Brady,
put on there?
Can you add Moose to this like group chat for your book club and just see how long it takes for Moose to pop up? Moose has left the conversation.
It's not a group chat. It's all individual back and forth. It's all personalised.
Individual?
Yeah. People talk to me, give me book recommendations. I talk to them about books. We go back and forth.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. What's coming up, Bradley? What are you doing between now and next week?
Doing a bit of stuff around the house, getting it ready in case we need to sell it. So yeah, just a bit of landscaping and just tidying up things that need fixing and that sort of stuff.
Very good.
Plus a bit of running. Hopefully, getting on top of this achilles.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. Moose, what are you doing? Racing.
Back to work and racing this week. So we're firing all cylinders. Might have to book in a holiday actually soon. Going to Japan, of course, but probably just a little bit of downtime in Jan. Maybe a little training week, 1 week off.
Did
I love it.
Entry?
Brady's going to come down to train with you and you're going to leave for the week.
He'll be in Yarrawonga or something, Croaks.
Maybe I could get up to Echuca for a week.
Yeah, mate, I've got accommodation for you here. I've got this like self-contained unit.
That was definitely a joke.
That's good. You'd a challenger, but I think you'd be able to survive it up here. Maybe for 3 or 4 nights. Don't come for a week. You'll send you home in a body bag.
Water pressure's good, Moose.
Water pressure's amazing. Yeah, that's not an issue.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty flat there, isn't it?
Flat. Got a swimming pool.
It's only about
tan the body.
45 degrees every day.
Hey.
It's only about 45 degrees every day.
It's been pretty good so far. Not much to whinge about, but I think it's coming. Surf Coast track meet's coming up. We got a live stream, Moose.
Well, no, but Athletics Exclusive, I think, might be down there taking photos. So might have to tell them to get a camera down there, maybe.
Taking photos.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
Not streaming. Also, our Garmin competition, an opportunity to win the Garmin 965 is live on our Instagram page. If you haven't entered already, make sure you do that. There's about 3,835 comments as we speak. But that's still pretty good odds, isn't it? 1 in 4,000 to win a watch.
Got to be in it to win it.
Got to be in it to win it. Better than Tas Lotto. The Lotto.
I mean, how much effort did it take you to enter?
Oh, nothing. All you got to do is type in a name and follow some accounts.
not a lot you've lost there.
Yeah, pretty easy. All right, boys. See us next week. We'll do it all again. I will try to find that audio from World Cross Country that we were talking about, but if I don't, give me an extra week. I'll put it on the end of a summer series episode coming up. See you, boys.
See you, boys. Good luck for the weekend.
Thanks, Croaks.
Oh, my